Scott Jedlinski, Modern Samurai Project. This is Meet the Pressers.
Meet the Pressers with Matt Mallory and Clint Necro. Brought to you by Public Safety and Education and the Trigger Pressers Union.
Meet the Pressers is brought to you by Mantis. Mantis X helps shooters suck less. Next Level Training, makers of CERT training products. Henry Repeating Arms, made in America or not made at all. XS Sights, fast sights in any light. Meet the Pressers is also brought to you by these fine companies, shows, organizations, and our Patreon members. Thank you.
Hey everybody, Matt Mallory here with Meet the Pressers. We are at Las Vegas at the SHOT Show 2025. We're here with Scott, and we're going to talk a little bit about Jedi mind tricks.
Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, we're going to get into training and traveling the country and teaching and whatnot. So, I've been hounding you for a long time to train with you. I think 2025 might have to be the year.
I think will be now that Trump's back in office, and I don't know, you New Yorkers are finally to press back on your governor and your AG, and it might not be like going into a foreign country.
Yeah. Tom Gibbons said the same thing. Like, I'm not coming up there to that foreign country. I'm like, listen, you're retired law enforcement. He's like, no, I'm not going there.
Yeah.
Like, all right. So we had to host him in Pennsylvania. But
yeah. I'll get all the Rolodex out between New York State Police and NYPD and all those other guys.
Yeah.
And we might come up there. Yeah, sure. Why not? What the hell?
Thank you for coming on here.
Yeah.
And
my pleasure.
And talking about everything, guns and such.
Yeah.
So why don't we do a quick elevator speech on how it became to be?
Yeah, so Scott Jedlinski, I own a company called Modern Samurai Project. We specialize in red dot pistols and in the AIWB from concealment classes, right? So my main classes are end user for red dot, instructor for red dot, both for law enforcement and the civilian. As well as a 3-day class where we go into nothing but AIWB on day one and then flow into red dot uses there. I like to describe what I do as performance shooting. I don't teach tactics, that's not my lane, and most tactics instructors can't agree on anything, right? So I don't want to be part of all that, right? So performance shooting, what's performance shooting? It's a core competencies that isn't directly to competition, self-defense, or war, but applies to all of them. I'll teach you how to shoot that gun fast and accurate with a specific methodology. You can take that methodology, adapt it to your own, and apply it to any one of those applications. So that's what I do. I teach about 100 classes a year. I've been doing that for the last 3 or 4 years. I've got 7 or 8 staff instructors that are going to do another 60 under the banner.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, man.
So, and how did you... I like to say I stumbled across what I'm doing, but how did you stumble across what you're doing? What was the background on that?
So I used to live in Northern Virginia, right? And I've been doing Brazilian Jiu Jitsu since 1996. Up in Northern Virginia, it's impossible to train in Jiu Jitsu without training with other law enforcement, local, state, federal, a lot of mill guys. So my buddy Al, he was State Department MSD. He was a 3-year white belt because he kept on getting deployed, but he was a big dude, 6'5", 300 pounds, pure muscle. And the story I tell is that he would win a lot, but he would do it out of hate. Then he would get hurt and he'd hurt other people. Right. So we just started training in the morning. I helped him get his blue belt. All was good. He was like, hey man, I need to give you something back. I'm like, nah, you're doing the country's work, don't worry about it. He's like, well, now do you shoot? I'm like, I own a gun. Right? So he's like, well, let me show you some stuff. And it was your classic saucily lean over, arms locked out, shoulders and ears, all that other horrible shit. Yeah. Am I allowed to swear on here? Sorry about that if I did. Sorry about that anyway. Sure. And then, it just kind of it went from being a hobby into a passion, into a sport. And then I met a lot of the guys from the primary and secondary. That's a website out there, a forum group, a podcast, all right? And the owner, Matt Lanfair, said, hey man, you need to teach. And I said, no, don't need to. You instructors can't agree on anything. I just enjoy my status as an elite student, right? Yeah. And then, all good, in 2016, Trump gets elected, but I was in the mortgage industry then, right?
Really?
And people don't understand how mortgage industry works. When the president is horrible and the economy does horrible, rates go down, refinances go up. Well, Trump's great, goes great for business, rates start going up, half my business is gone. So I finally went to Matt, maybe I need to do this class. So July of 2017, 20-person class sold out in an hour.
Wow.
With a 20-person wait list. And then I did it again in August and again in September and went on and on and on.
This is viable.
Yeah, and then it just kind of growed from there. And then at the end of middle 2018, I got invited to teach at OTOA, the Ohio Tactical Officers Conference, the biggest one in the country, training conference anyway. Then I got invited to teach at Shooter Symposium with some other greats, Reston, Blowers, Cowan, DeFore, Vogel, those guys, right? So that got me a little more on the map. And then Houston Police Department went full bore on the dot, right? So then they were the first department to adopt it. And then as you know, most of the trainers know, civilians train on the weekends, cops train on the week. So then it went from 65 to almost to 85 to 100. I've been doing 100 classes for the last 3 or 4 years.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's it's a neat history in that sense.
Yeah.
And it's a passion, right?
Yep.
I always say I love what I do. I hate that I have to do it.
Yeah.
Teach people how to defend themselves.
Yep.
Teach law enforcement officers how to defend themselves. I'm a part-time police officer in upstate New York, law enforcement instructor, both in the academy. I run an academy, and chief of a small town, and it's neat to be able to show somebody something new and I didn't think that,
right?
Or see their ability to shoot increase and be better, because that ultimately could be, granted the chances of them using the gun in on the job's more likely, but as a civilian, hopefully very low.
Yep.
But you got the gun, you should be able to run it.
Sure, 100%, man.
So with the classes that you offer, what let's talk red dot, because I think that might be a good way to go. There's a lot of rifles kind of took hold a while ago. Handguns are becoming more common. And now we're getting like even better reticles, bigger, thinner, more reliable, better batteries, solar panels on them, to all that. That evolution's pretty cool. What would you say to somebody like hogwash, iron sights or nothing?
I'd say what you just said. Do you have one? What do you run on your rifle? An aim point? Good. Well, the rifle's different than the handgun. No, it's not. You think it is. Right.
It's a little bit bigger sight rated.
A little bit, but with the dot, it doesn't matter that much, right? So what I tell people, especially cops, is if you start shooting your pistol like you shoot your carbine, you'll be better for it, and the advantage will come out. And they're like, what does that mean? I go, well, first thing is, how hard do you grab onto the pistol grip on your rifle? Well, not hard at all. How hard do you grab onto your pistol?
Death grip.
You're trying to choke that thing. Stop doing that, okay? As a matter of fact, when you want to do a precision DMR type of shot, what do you do with your thumb? You roll that thing over, don't you, right? Why do you grab on so hard with your firing hand thumb? Get that thing out of the way. It does nothing but push your support hand down. The other thing is you lock out when you shoot. Do you shoot your carbine like this, or do you shoot it like this? I shoot it like this. How hard do you grab onto the rail? Pretty hard. What do? I put the buttstock in the pocket. Cool. See this? This is your buttstock. See that? That's your pocket. Instead of pushing out, push up and back. Relax your firing hand so it can pull the trigger. Your support hand is the steering wheel and the brake. And the minute the SWAT man go, I'm not doing anything. It's the way I shoot my rifle, right? And then I give them techniques how to do a proper presentation based on the context. And then everything else, everyone gets faster and more efficient and more consistent.
All right, now we're going to have to go back and do that in slow motion, because that was a lot of data fast.
It's almost like I say it all the time. So,
for sure. But the funny thing, another reason why I said I'm like you, because I talk the same way. Fast. And I got to sometimes slow myself down because I get ahead of myself with that. That's cool. And some of the things you said, I'm like, I haven't heard it said that way, or that's interesting. One of the things I like to do in classes, and it sounds like you've done this too, is find a way, see an issue with a student, the way they're doing something. And then turn around and find some sort of hooked on phonics moment, or something that they're used to, like relating a vehicle to. I'll talk about, and this might differ from what you teach. So another reason why I'm excited about wanting to take your class is this is the foundation of your grip. Right? So you want to be high and tight here on the back strap, high and tight here up into the trigger guard, point 1, point 2. You want to have that finger erect. We're all adults. We know what that is. Away from the trigger as far as possible. Thumb up out of the way. Not down like this, like you're scolding when you're a kid, but like this when you're playing as a kid. And this is the wall that you're going to lay on that foundation. third point of reference, and then you hinge it into place.
Yep.
Instruction terms, right?
Sure.
So stuff like that, just to kind of make people, oh, yeah. Even like racking the slide, I'll tell people, I had students, they'll pull the slide back, they'll let it go, they'll walk it forward. And it's like, those are horrible ways to rack the slide. Strip it, strip it, rip it, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
Punch yourself in the chest.
Yep.
I just said that one day, and the student's like, oh, and I'm like, I say punch yourself in the chest, and they get it. And I'm like, okay, that's weird, but they got it.
Yeah.
It just clicks.
Yep, 100%.
But
you got to find things people do every single day and then relate that, right? So, that funny word, fundamentals, right? You talk to 10 different instructors, you got 10 different fundamentals. I think a fundamental is you take things that you do every single day of your life and you apply it to firearms, whether it be sports, whether it be walking around. Guys who have no problem with their rifle on a red dot, then they get a pistol because the pistol tells them instead of looking there, they gotta look here at a front sight. Undo that, right? When you drove here today, were you windshield focused or road focused? You were road focused. When you open a doorknob, right? When you open a doorknob, are you hand focused or doorknob focused? You're target focused, right?
That's a good point.
So when people say that irons are just as good as a red dot, that is 100% incorrect, right? Unless you're shooting your irons target focus, which the best shooters on the face of the earth, competition guys, do. They shoot irons target focus.
So it's funny you say that because some of the classes I've taken in the past, I don't want to say a bad habit because what you just said is what I've done. When I first started shooting handguns, that really nobody taught me. I've been shooting since I was a kid, BB guns as a young lad, hunting up in upstate New York, went to the military, spent 6 years in the military total between active duty and National Guard. And the handgun, just put it in my hands, I drive it out in front of me, and we didn't really focus on the sights.
Yeah.
I just put it in front of me and I pressed the trigger, and whatever it was, maybe it was shooting bow and arrow when I was a kid. I was really good with
throwing
it.
a baseball, throwing a ball.
Exactly, and I did baseball when I was a kid too. So that eye coordination, it's another tool in my hands.
Sure.
Right? So I'm not focusing on, I don't have sights on a baseball bat.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
You can't see the ball flying that fast.
Right.
So you're swinging because what? It's all timing.
Yep.
Being good with that tool in your hands.
Yep.
So when I go to some of these other classes, front sight focus, I'm like, if I'm sitting there going, nice slow steady press, okay, maybe marksmanship, front sight focus could come into play because I got the time. But in a defensive situation, you're bug eye.
Yeah.
You're not looking at the front. If you're looking at the front sights, hey, bad guy, stop moving. It's not realistic.
Yep.
The difference between marksmanship and defensive, right?
I would say I would agree with that, but you still need to aim.
Yeah.
You still need to aim, right? And people they start bringing up this point shooting thing, right? And when people say point shooting, they mean one of two things: that you're such a close proximity to a very large target. You're still aiming.
Yeah.
You're just using an index on the gun, a gross sight picture.
Yeah.
Right. Otherwise, we all be doing that old speed rock down here at the hip, which is horrible in court.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think of the point shooting more so, or at least the way I explain it to law enforcement, or in some cases, New York State requires us to show point shooting, would be like the shove and shoot. Right, you're up close. You're peripherally watching the bad guy or the prospective bad guy, and you're taking notes, and then they jump off on you. Get back, and then you're drawing it, and then shooting from.
Well, but that's a very close proximity. That cone of deviation is very, very small.
Exactly. So as you get further away, it's not really point shooting. As you do that, now you're starting to get negligence, where you're hitting innocent people, missing the bad guy, that kind of thing. So up close, personal, where they got a hold of you. You're not going to be. Hang on, bad guy, get back, so I can.
It's basically contact stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you're at 3 yards and in without outside of contact, you're still using a aiming reference, like you would use on a baseball, right? Nobody throws the baseball back here.
Yeah.
You throw it here. You have the target and the projectile in your peripheral. That's called aiming.
Yeah.
Right. So we talk about gross sight pictures in my class, back plate, using the glass, using the top of the optic, and then the fourth gross sight picture is your irons, right? Then the first refined sight picture is your dot. What's the next level dot? An LPVO, some sort of magnification on your thing. Right. But there's levels of that you all can do based on the difficulty of the target, right? I challenge anybody, do your point shooting thing at 25 yards to a head box.
No.
See what happens.
Ain't gonna happen.
Right? Jesus is not on your side to guarantee that happens, right? Which is where a lot of that point shooting comes from ego, right? They can do it because they got a lineage to St. Michael. That's incorrect. Stop doing that.
So when I do the academy security guard 47-hour class, when I teach those classes, one of the things I like to do at the end of every day is I bring them back to the 50-yard line. And the first time I tell them, hey, we're going to go back to the 50-yard line and shoot the target. And it's a steel body size target. And they're like, we shooting it with a rifle?
Yeah.
I'm like, no,
Yeah.
with a handgun. They're like, are we just with a scope? Like, no. They're like, and they're befuddled. And what do? I pull it out at 50 yards and I'm hitting that.
Yep.
And they're like, what the hell just happened?
There you go.
And then I have one shot. You get up, you do a next, and then if anybody gets that shot, we move to the 100 yards. And they're like, no, come on. And then I'll do it at 100 yards. But what I do is I show them, like, and I've missed, right? We're human. But, I'll get out there and this is iron sights, not red dot, when I did this in the past. And I'll take my time, and sometimes I'll even come off the, right? And then drive it out again just to show them.
Sure.
That, I mean, at that distance, if it's especially something that you have to hit, you can't miss that. So
Yeah.
you got to put all that time and effort and energy into making sure that you hit what you're aiming at.
Right. Exactly.
Just like up close. You might not, it's that balance of speed and precision in a sense.
Yep. All based on the difficulty of the target.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Hello, my name is Clint Macro, co-founder and administrator of National Train a Teacher Day. National Train a Teacher Day is a grassroots movement of volunteer firearms, safety, first aid, and defense instructors that offer free training to teachers, school staff, administrators, and those that work with youth in a leadership capacity. We do this every year on National Train a Teacher Day. This year marks the 8th annual National Train a Teacher Day, and we'll be observing it on Saturday, June 21st, 2025. That's Saturday, June 21st, 2025. Over the years, hundreds of volunteer instructors have trained thousands of teachers, school staff, administrator, and those that work with youth in a leadership capacity. If you fit that bill, or if you know someone that does, we encourage you to visit or have them visit the website, which is nationaltrainateacherday.com, and connect with a local instructor and take advantage of this fantastic free training opportunity. We'd like to thank our volunteers, our partners, and our sponsors for helping make National Train a Teacher Day a success each year. But most of all, we want to thank you, the teachers, school staff, administrators, and youth leaders who take the time to empower themselves with information to better protect those that they educate, and that is our children. Visit the website, spread the word, and we will see you on National Train a Teacher Day, Saturday, June 21st, 2025. Thanks.
Red dots. Changed over time. Current day, cream of the crop, somebody coming to your class, they come with any type of red dot, or would you be like,
they can, and then we talk about it. Again,
Okay.
if I vetted everyone's equipment before they come to class,
Never have anybody.
never.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just talk about my top 4.
Okay.
Trijicon RMR HD, Trijicon RCR, Trijicon SRO, and the Holosun 507 Comp, with a honorable mention to the Holosun 5019. Why are those guys? Basic features, but I based dots on 3 criteria, right? Performance. How big is that glass? How clear is that window? How clear is that dot? Is it in a form function to where as soon as I lift it or drop it, depending on the context, the dot's there, okay? If I do everything correctly my way. Reliability of the feature set that it has.
Okay.
Is it reliable, right? If you have an automatic light sensor, but it flickers 90% of the time because they know which light source to look at, that's not reliable,
not
right?
functional.
And then durability. Durability is the one where you really have to do your own investigation, okay? Very good friend of mine, Aaron Cowan, right? Has not coined the term, but he put it out there that of duty grade. I don't know what duty grade means.
I think mil spec.
Yeah, well, dude, you're part-time police. How many dudes you work with that are not duty grade?
Oh, yeah.
And they're still working, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So what I think is you have to judge this, right? A concealed carrier does not have the same durability requirements as a patrol guy.
For sure.
A patrol guy does not have the same durability requirements as a narc who's going hands-on every single day.
Absolutely.
So you've got to do it, right? The funny joke I say is this, right? Again, I love Aaron's drop test from 5 years, right? It gave us a standard. It's absolutely a pinnacle of how people look at durability and stuff like that. On the other hand, let's taper it with this. If you had a buddy, a partner, a mate, that within the course of shooting $1,500, he dropped, or 1,500 rounds, he dropped his gun 3 times.
Yeah.
How long would he still be your buddy?
Not very long.
Not very long. So
No.
maybe it's not the optics fault. Maybe it's his fault.
Yeah,
right.
that's valid.
But we have to have that balance between performance and durability. I can't tell you the last time I've dropped my gun. right? So the fact that the SRO didn't pass his test is immaterial to me because I don't drop my gun, right? Also, I'm not full-time police who may go hands-on and may have to go. So does it matter to other people? Sure. Does it matter to me? No, it doesn't. So yeah, all those. The 509T gets an honorable mention because I've never had one go down in my class. I've had aim points go down. I've had Steiners go down. I've had all those go down in my class. And if your dot doesn't make it through my class, you need to worry about it because I don't do CrossFit with guns like some guys do, right? I'm not saying aim points.
CrossFit with guns.
I'm not saying aim points not awesome. I'm not saying Steiner's not awesome, but I've had SROs go down. I've had all that other stuff go down. I've never had a 509T go down. And the fact that it is 50% of the cost of the previous ones, it deserves an honorable mention.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's fair.
There you go.
So one of the things with teaching students, I had one recently actually, certified her as a USPSA instructor, and she was having issues with hitting the target with iron sights, the gun she brought, and I gave her my Glock 19 with a red dot, and she was able to hit it. And I was like, okay, do you have astigmatism? She goes, yeah.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on red dots and stigmatisms, being able to help the shooter that might have an issue being able to use those iron sights?
So this is going to sound a little gruff, but just listen to me on this, right? Everybody who has an astigmatism, nobody cares, right? You used to shoot irons. Irons are 80 MOA, right? The front sight is 80 MOA. You put a 3 MOA dot in front of you, and because it looks like a little bit of a starburst, that's only 8 MOA, but because you got a dot, everything has got to be perfect, right? I don't care if it looks like an eggplant. I don't care if it looks like a smashed Pac-Man. If you can see the target, you put the dot in there. I don't care what it looks like. Shoot your gun. Stop looking for perfection. The other debate is what's better, red or green, right? But the problem is there's 10 million variants of astigmatisms out there, right? Like before I got my eyes fixed, I had astigmatism. If I look at the dot, at 5 o'clock, you'll see a little Newbering racetrack at the bottom, right? So what do? I look at the target. I stop looking at the dots, right? And that's what I find out works for most people. Stop looking for perfection, right? Look at what's good enough, okay? Because you didn't care when you shot irons. Stop caring because you have a thing. As far as red or green, go to your local gun store, put it in front of your face, whatever you like better, go shoot.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, it's not like you're projecting a laser out on something where green would be better in daylight than red would be, right? It's in a window that you're looking through. Yeah,
I'll give you a great example, right? So the SRO versus the 507 comp. The red dot on the SRO under bright afternoon sunlight is brighter than the Holosun red. But then you get the Holosun 507 comp green, and you can't tell because your eye picks up the green better. Now, the slight trap there is because you see the green better, some people have a tendency to get sucked into the green dot a little bit more.
Oh, okay.
Because
deer in the headlights.
Yeah, well, it's just there.
Yeah.
It's so nice in there that you get sucked in on it, right? But with training and knowing that you need to be more target focused, looking at a small spot on the target, you'll get over that quickly. So I used to not care. Now I'm like, I'm starting to like the green dot a lot. So that's what I've been shooting lately. So yeah.
What about the as far as the ones you mentioned are good, but battery versus solar? You see any pluses or minuses in the industry between the two of those?
So why do many of us carry a gun? Because we want it, even though we don't need it all the time, but when we need it, we need it, right?
Yeah, need it
I think the same thing with solar. I think Holosun's doing great things with solar. Problem is, dude, I'm a knuckle dragger, man. As much as I go deep into stuff like that, I still can't figure out when that solar's on, when it's not on, and yada, yada, right? And I change my batteries once a month anyway, so I really haven't had a problem using solar, but it's a nice touch.
Right.
So
I haven't seen any issues with every time I've drawn it out and used it. And I usually will try to shoot with students in classes, not with them, but like before or after demo with it so that I can get some reps myself, make sure the gun's working mindset. And I've never had an issue with the solar aspect of it.
The thing with the solar though is that they're usually way too bright based on what you want to do, right? For example, when I zero, we do it to a 1 inch square at 10 yards, and then we confirm it at 25, right? When you take something like the EPS, which is is that the EPS? Yeah, the SCS, the one that's all solar. it's so bright that it completely overpowers the 1 inch square to where you have to move it out of the way to see the 1 square, and then you're not in the 1 inch square. So yeah,
right.
I think for some applications it's absolutely great, but the zeroing part is very, very frustrating.
Interesting.
So yeah, and there's no way to turn it down for the most part. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's see. What haven't I thought of? Anything that we can interject here? We had a good conversation on red
yeah.
dots.
So yeah, go ahead.
Industry names like Red Dot. They're not red anymore. They're
the
green dots.
The new one is MPO.
Oh, okay. Not reflective.
Or PMO.
Refractive sights. Reflective.
Pistol-mounted optic.
Oh, who came up with that? Somebody wanted
I don't know,
put a
man.
name to it?
Someone just wants to be different with stuff. I think it's PMO to me sounds like HMO, and I'm like, are we talking about health insurance now? Or are we doing the dot? Look, when you say dot,
Yeah.
they know what you're talking about. Nobody says red dot rifle.
Right.
Nobody says that. We're talking about red dot. They're talking about the pistol, even if it's green or anything like that. Just keep it RDS, red dot
RDS.
sight. You just keep it that.
Use the acronym. The color changes. Who cares?
Exactly. PMO is more specific. Whatever. Get out of here, kid.
Yeah.
You teach one class
But
a
can
year.
you put a
Shut
PMO on an R?
MR on a
AR.
Yeah,
There you go.
on
Can
a-
you put
yeah,
can
on
you
a-
PMO
yeah.
on an AR?
Yeah.
Interesting. Cool.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so there's that. Bigger windows are making it very easier for the new people getting out there. We talk about certain techniques of leveling out the gun and being able to acquire the dot. Things we had to do back in the day with the RMR where half the window's missing. You don't need to necessarily do as much with the bigger window optics, but the foundations of building the grip and everything like that are there. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, man. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Super. So modernsamuraiproject.com.
Yep. .com. Yep.
Scott the Jedi.
There you go. Awesome.
Yeah.
Great
Check
meeting.
him out. Give him your business. There's lots of sponsors that make this show possible, like Mantis, Next Level Training, like Henry, like
XS Sites.
Check them out and give them your business.
Meet the Pressers is brought to you by Mantis. Mantis X helps shooters suck less. Next Level Training. Makers of CERT training products. Henry Repeating Arms. Made in America or not made at all. XS Sights. Fast sights in any light. Meet the Pressers is also brought to you by these fine companies, shows, organizations, and our Patreon members. Thank you.
Thanks for watching the show.
Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and click that little bell thingy so you know when the next episode's coming out. Support us on Patreon. Come to one of our classes. Host us to come to you and do one of our classes at your location.
And until next time.
Adieu.
Thank you for watching Meet the Pressers.